Fever is a temporary elevation of the body core temperature. It is part of the body's innate response defensive response against various infections. When you develop fever, you feel cold. Heat generation in your body increases, which is achieved by shivering, and heat loss decreases, which is achieved by seeking warmth, covering up or reducing the flow of warm blood to the skin. When fever breaks, it's either it occurs naturally or it's because you have taken an antipyretic like paracetamol. You'll feel warm, okay? Your reactions include increasing the flow of warm blood to the skin and sweating, which helps brings the body core temperature back to normal. So, what are the limitations to infrared thermometers or thermal cameras detecting fever? Detecting fever requires measuring body core temperature. To do that accurately, you need to put the temperature into the body core. Temperature into the body core. Temperature in the rectum and the mouth get close to the body core temperature. Needing to measure body core temperature raises the first problem with fever screening. Thermal cameras and infrared thermometers measure the heat that is radiating from the surface. In other words, we term it as the surface temperatures. They don't measure the body core temperature. Measuring the surface temperature has contributed usefully to healthcare and to biology. For example, infrared cameras have shown whether a skin graft is receiving blood or not. This is one of the success stories of the use of the infrared cameras. But the forehead skin or the inner eye temperature that the infrared thermometers or the thermal cameras usually measure in fever screening are not body core temperatures. The human surface temperature is heavily influenced by the environmental conditions. In a cool environment, surface temperature can be much lower than the body core temperature. And in doing exercises or being exposed to the sun can raise the temperature of our foreheads above the body core temperature. Thermal cameras screen for high skin temperature. They can and do find face temperatures that have nothing to do with the infections. Those false positives waste time and money and unnecessary follow-ups. Another problem is that the skin temperature does not rise during the developing phase of fever. This is because warm blood is kept away from the skin. So your skin temperature changes in the opposite direction to your body core temperature. Your skin temperature changes in the opposite direction to your body core temperature. Thermal cameras would declare you safe. The thermal cameras or the infrared cameras would declare you that you are safe because your skin temperature is low, but you could be in the most infectious phase of fever. No surface temperature is a reliable indicator of fever. Could better fever screening detect COVID-19? Could better fever screening detect COVID-19? Even if infrared thermometers could detect fever reliably, they could not detect COVID-19 reliably, nor could any other thermometer. Patients with COVID-19 are not guaranteed to have fever. Patients with COVID-19 symptoms or with COVID-19, most of them are not guaranteed to have fever. Recent research indicates that many people who test positive for COVID-19 infections, and especially in children, never have any detectable sign of illness, including fever. Even in people who later show symptoms will not have fever during the COVID-19 incubation phase. This makes it very dangerous, which means we should go ahead ahead of just detecting temperatures using the infrared thermometers. During this period, during the incubation period, when they are asymptomatic, they can spread the virus. The finding that infected people without symptoms share the virus is the Achilles heel of controlling this current epidemic. To add to the problem, not all patients with symptoms that have fever can at least on the basis of once-off measurement. Let me take that again. To add to the problem, not all patients with symptoms will have a fever, at least on just a one-time measurement. Just a one-time measurement is not really something that can lead in detecting that this particular patient have the virus. So, in addition to not measuring the body core temperature well, infrared thermometers are being used also to find high temperature that many people are exposed to COVID-19 will never have or will never develop. Has fever screening ever helped to prevent the spread of the virus? Thermal cameras were introduced at airports at the outbreak of the 2002-2003 SARS-CoV-2 pandemic. They were widespread in airports during 2009, the influenza pandemic. But for medical and technological reasons, they have failed. Yes, I repeat, they have failed to prevent the import of any virus causing respiratory diseases. They have failed in combination with other interventions like follow-up or contact tracing or any health declaration questionnaires. For example, 930 people who presented as potentially infected candidates were picked out from thermal screening from over 9 million passengers entering Japan in 2009 and 2010 during the H1N1 pandemic. But on the case of H1N1 influenza, but no one case, I repeat, but no one case of H1N1 influenza was diagnosed out of this 930 which was being picked up out of the 9 million people who entered Japan in 2009-2010 during the H1N1 pandemic. The data from Ebola shows the same pattern. Not one case of Ebola virus or the Ebola infection was picked up in the 166,242 airport passengers screened when entering and leaving Sierra Leone in the 2014 to 2016 outbreak of the Ebola. In the case of COVID-19, CNN has reported that no case were detected among more than 30,000 passengers who were screened with the thermal cameras at the US airport by mid-February 2020. Some scientists have been forthright about the dubious value of fever screening, arguing that the border screening for infectious diseases should not be continued. Is there any place for fever screening? Perhaps there may be benefit. Some people with viral infections who know they are sick attempt to conceal their illness. Travelers wanting to fly home are prone to do so. Others take antipyretic drugs hoping to avoid the triggering of the thermal camera. Though there is still no scientific evidence, researchers have suggested that the prospect of being caught by fever screening is a deterrent to such dishonesty. But we do not believe that the potential benefit outweighs the negative. Apart from fever screening being unreliable, infrared thermometers poses a risk to the thermometers operators, who are required to come close to the suspected or to come close to these individuals to check for their temperatures. Successful passing of the fever screening can create a false sense of security, and the thermal cameras used for mass screening are costly. The thermal cameras used for mass screening are costly. So are the personnel required for the fever screening. so are the personnel required for the fever screening. So, you see, there is no scientific evidence or there is no scientific basis, okay, that is able, upon all the research that I have done. Perhaps, as I said, fever screening may have some benefit, okay, they may have some benefit, but using infrared or the laser screening is actually do not measure. It does not measure the body core temperature, but measures the temperature that radiates from the skin. Okay, that makes it very dangerous. That makes it very dangerous because we are in this country, especially in Ghana. How come passengers or people or suspected or positive patients were able to pass through these infrared cameras and infrared thermometers through our airport into the country to start the infection, to start the spread of the COVID-19 infection? Why? Is it that the infrared thermometers are not up to task? Is it that they are not good? I would recommend to various shop owners, to the government, to do more than the use of the infrared, using the infrared thermometers or the infrared cameras in checking for patients or in checking for individuals who are suspected to be positive. Our hospitals, shop owners should do more than just using the infrared thermometers. Should do more than using just the infrared thermometers. This is all what time will allow us. I'm your host, Andrews the Right. And remember not to forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you again.